Yo, welcome to the Exotics Podcast, where we interview guests to provide our community value. Today, we have a special guest. This man is one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the fashion industry. He's been leveraging his life to win. He is a father, he is a mentor, he is a coach. Like I mentioned, he's a serial entrepreneur. Today, we have Chris Leverage. We get some claps.
Thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming.
We appreciate you taking time out today. Come by, give us a little background on yourself, kind of go over things. Sorry.
Wait, did you start by saying he's a collector? Collector of what?
He is a collector.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Carr
loves
Collector.
cards.
Yeah, I have quite a few cars.
Damn.
Nice. How many
Not just cards.
Trust me, I did my
like
research.
baseball cards, like
Uh,
things we used to collect when I was a kid.
memorabilia. Okay.
No, I got a couple. No, cars. I got a few cars.
He's got a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a few cars.
So where did that come from? Were you a collector when you were a child?
I mean, as a kid, I was just obsessive about like a lot of bullshit.
Okay.
You know, kind of growing up, it's like everything I did was kind of OCD. Like from playing basketball, then collecting basketball cards as a kid, and then collecting shoes. So like every single hobby that I've done like kind of OCD and over the top. And it's just my personality.
Yeah. So when you get into something, you have to go all out.
Yeah, I go all out. Like recently, I got into running.
Oh, dope.
nice.
So like now I'm actually running a half marathon this Saturday.
Dope.
And I've only been running for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Bruh.
So but I ran over like 80 miles.
That's one thing you can't get me to do.
Yeah.
I cannot run.
I've already ran like over like 80 miles in like the last month.
What's a half marathon? How many miles is that?
13.1 miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's still
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
That's a
miles.
lot, bro.
And the wild thing was I was supposed to run it on Father's Day, but then I was already ready. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run it this Sunday in San Diego. I'll run the one on Father's Day too.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, but I mean, just besides that, I've always had like a big thing about cars. I was into like the JDM Honda scene when I was like younger. My dad used to roll around in a 1978 Honda CVCC. And then
Nice.
kind of growing up, I was really into Hondas, like really into Hondas, EGs, EFs, EKs.
Our whole crew had Hondas and Integras.
That was my first car. Was a Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first car was an 88 CRX, but it was a HF, not even an SI.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Santa Ana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I grew up
So
in Santa
local.
Ana.
Oh, here.
Local, very, very local.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, but I mean, just that whole thing, kind of growing up as as you grew up and the more money you had, I would just try to get the best car I can get with the amount of money I had. So it just kind of started leveling up from like Hondas to like Beamers to like a Porsche, then to like the Ferrari, then Lamborghinis, and then like now I've had
He's had
55,
everything.
60 plus cars.
Dope.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
cars do you have?
I've had like 55 to 60 plus cars. Right now, I don't know. I think I might have 14 cars right now
Whoa.
currently. Yeah.
That's
nice.
crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, my car collection it's different though. It's not like your normal typical
Yeah.
guy. I made a bunch of money. Let me go buy the newest Rolls Royce, the newest Lambo.
He's got some of the old
Old
school
school,
cars.
yeah,
that-
so-
That's nice.
What's your
collect-
favorite car that you got right now?
88 E3 M3.
that's what I was
yeah,
going to say.
E30.
It's your BMW.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's sitting in my garage.
Yeah.
And I have an Integra Type R.
Oh,
That's
that's
one of my
dope.
favorite cars too. It just sits there. I don't even drive. I just look at it.
Yeah, that's nice.
I actually have like a warehouse where I like store all my my little man cave where I store all my vintage cars.
Where
That's
is
super
that?
dope.
It's out in Costa Mesa. It's not
Give
too
us the
far away.
address.
Yeah.
I'm just curious
we're
if
letting
it
you guys
was
all know the address.
No, it's nearby.
that
It's
same
nearby.
place.
nearby.
He's close by.
Close
Yeah.
by. I mean, yeah. What else do I got in there? I got like a slant nose Porsche. I have a 90 Defender. I have a S2000. Testarossa. Shit. What else do I have? I mean, I daily the GT3 RS
Yeah.
and the Urus. So there's a few of them.
Yeah,
Yours
those
is
are nice.
a great car.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
car.
that Porsche. Is,
I got kind of sad when he told me that he sold his Aventador because I was so in love with his car.
Yeah.
what color was it?
Why?
It was all black.
It was the thing.
We
is
actually did a photo shoot
Yeah,
here. with it.
that's
the funny thing is
my
it was
shit,
black
all
with gold rims with Vorsteiner body kit.
Yeah.
My Urus is black with gold rims on.
Bro, he's
Vorsteiner
like
body
sitting
kit.
like 2 inches off the ground. I was like, how the hell you driving this car? I'd
not
be
even
so
2
scared.
inches, dude.
Yeah.
It was like off the.
That's
the,
the scary part. It's like
It's
you
crazy.
you barely hit it and it's like crack,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like thousands of dollars to fix
Shouts
that
out
crack.
to Vorsteiner though. Their body kit's hard, tough.
So
hard cover.
how I mean,
He's plugging in
having this-
Vorsteiner. Yeah, we
Yeah.
need some rims. We need
how
some.
how were you able to put this collection together? I mean, obviously it costs a lot of money. You've been
lot of
into
hard work.
cars.
Elite.
How did you start? I mean, people have this perception about people from Santa Ana, just Santa Ana in general. How did that develop from being a kid to now? Just where do you live?
I mean, I would always say this, and it's funny because on my social media, I always say legal weight. I'm in the fashion industry, so for me,
nice.
I've been in the industry since I was, Jesus Christ, since I was like 22. I'm
nice.
40 now, so I started off like as a sales rep. So I started off as a sales rep for a brand.
Okay.
I became a sales manager, and from a sales manager, started my own sales agency.
Amazing.
Me and my business partner started our first brand. We went overseas to China, found a factory, made our first brand, and then from our first brand,
What was the brand?
it's called Embellish.
Is it still around?
It's still around to this
Nice.
day. From Embellish, we created another 7 brands.
Whoa.
And then from the 7 brands, we bought instead of doing logistics and everything for somebody else, we started our own logistics company.
Wow.
We ended up partnering with the factory.
Here or in China?
Overseas in China.
Okay.
So everything was vertical. So we just, all we did was every single year we looked at our Rolodex of our brands and what we had and what we did to offer it. And we were just like, how do we make more money? So the biggest thing about making more money is the supply chain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like if you're a brand, you always have to pay somebody to do your photo shoots. Our photo shoots are in-house. You always have to pay your sales reps. Our sales reps are in-house. You have to pay somebody to pick and pull your stuff. That's in-house. You have to pay for a warehouse. We own our warehouse.
He does everything under one roof.
So
It's
everything
amazing.
That's the best way to do it. And it's
Yeah.
also the fastest way of
Yeah.
getting things out.
Earlier on when we were like using a third-party fulfillment company, it would be like, okay, it's going to take us 24 to 48 hours to pull one of your marketing pool.
Right.
So, if I have like a celebrity or a rapper or somebody important,
Right.
I wanted to give you a piece, I'd have to wait 24 to 48 hours before they
Right.
pull it. I'm like, no, fuck no. I just want to walk back there. I'm going to grab my shit and I'm going to give it to you.
Right.
That's dope.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little gist of it. Yeah, fashion's where I made a majority of my money. I mean,
Was it a big fashion house or just, what kind of clothing was it?
I mean, we specialize in denim. That's like
Oh,
the one
okay.
thing that we do really, really well.
Okay.
But I mean, we make everything. I have a kids brand. I have a bunch of men's brands and crossover athletic brands too. So
That's dope.
yeah, and we do a ton of private label as well.
When you guys
Amazing.
started, because there was this huge increasement of like fashion brands, right?
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
everybody getting the pro clubs or the shotguns and putting like
yeah,
logos.
yeah.
Did you guys get in it around that time where you guys got in it and then you saw that huge fashion boom?
No, I mean, I've been around in the era where, people still did business face to face. And we got a majority of our business by going to trade shows and meeting stores. This day and age, everyone can start a brand, buy Facebook ads, and then sell your brand DTC.
Yeah.
But for us, back in the day, there was no such thing as an online store.
Right.
No.
There's none. So if you started a brand, you'd have to like buy a booth at a trade show and physically sell to people that had stores.
Right.
That was the only way you can get your brand out there. And so for me, I started as a sales rep, so I was repping other brands. But at the same time, while I was repping other brands, I built those relationships with the stores.
Right.
And so, in the last, since I've started, almost 18 years, we've sold to stores like Barney's,
Oh, nice.
Nordstrom's, Zoomies, Tilly's, PacSun, Selfridges, Foot Locker, The Buckle, and like we still sell to a majority of
Selfridges.
those. Yeah, all
That's
those.
cool.
So, it's cool because I have relationships like all over the world.
Yeah.
I've sold to stores in Australia, stores in Japan, stores in Germany, stores in Alabama, stores in New Orleans, stores in Bakersfield,
Yeah,
stores
yeah.
in, let me see some random ass stores, Rhode Island. Like literally,
Oh,
there's not a part of the United States where I can't go to say, hey, I do business with somebody there.
That's dope.
sick.
Yeah.
So what would you say? So if somebody came in and they're like, I want to start a brand,
Yeah,
what advice would you give them?
don't do it. Because the majority of the likelihood of you even succeeding is
Right.
next to none.
Right.
And like there's gatekeepers now. I wouldn't say there's
Exactly.
gatekeepers, but there's a learning curve, like
Oh,
a
for
roller,
sure.
a definitely a big learning curve. Like now, like I said, you could start a brand and be successful. If you're smart about Facebook ads and stuff like that, yeah. But if you want your brand to, reach out to stores and do the wholesale route, it's tough.
Got
So
it.
tough.
Got
So
it.
tough.
I was going to ask you something about you've seen the transition, right?
Yep.
From the digital selling space to
Yeah.
what it was before that, which, like you said, is face to face.
Yeah.
It's difficult to break in, but do you just think it has a lot to do with your work ethic and being relentless about finding opportunities and exploiting it? Because it sounds like you've done that for the last 2 decades.
I mean, the thing is, if you know, as a sales rep, it's a very relentless job.
Right.
It's like the toughest job, I
Oh,
think.
for sure.
Sales in general.
General,
Yeah.
period.
Right.
Like if you can sell clothes, you can sell cars, you can sell fucking potatoes, you can sell bras, you can sell whatever
Right.
the fuck you want.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're a good sales rep, you can sell whatever the hell you want. But like this day and age, you know, especially in fashion, the possibility of actually going face to face, going to a store, or driving down the coast, or going to a store, actually asking, hey, who's the buyer? Here's my product. Would you be willing to buy my product and sell it into your stores? I mean, that doesn't happen as much as it used to. You know, most kids now think, okay, I have this concept, I have this idea, I can make this product. Okay, now I could pay a mentor or pay a guru however much money a month, and he'll teach me how to run Facebook ads. You know,
Right.
and the thing about that, it's cool, but all you're doing is just tricking the consumer just to buy your product. You know, by just throwing money at them. There's no satisfaction, no gratification, no brand building, really.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
don't you feel like, as an artist, like imagine that you really are in that creative space.
Yeah.
And you're really into fashion.
Yeah.
Platforms like TikTok and maybe not as much Instagram, but things that let you put yourself out there and
Yeah.
express your ideas. Not necessarily just going out and running ads and trying to get numbers,
Yep.
but just getting people to fall in love with what you're in love with. You
Yeah.
don't think that still exists? Because I feel like that's kind of the new way of doing it for people that are passionate about what they do.
Yeah, it's like guys that are brand ambassadors and influencers, you know.
Mhm.
But the thing about that is, like, if your brand is tied to a face,
Right.
you know, there's a possibility of that person having a shelf life.
Okay.
You know, like, you know, how long can you follow a brand that is based off of kid on TikTok for?
Sure.
You know, some of these other brands that had long lives, like a Stussy. Let me see some bigger brand like a Stussy. I would say that for Stussy. Stussy's been around like for however long. They've been around
Right.
since like, I don't know, the late 80s, early 90s, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they've had roller coasters, but the thing is, they sell a good product. There's no face to Stussy,
Mm.
Right.
you know. But like then there's other brands that, you know, they're tied to an influencer, tied to a person's face, and if that person gets to an age where they're too old or there has been, then the brand dies.
For sure.
you know?
Oh, they do something incorrect in the market.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
And cancer
screwed.
culture is high.
For
you know,
sure.
You need some dumbest shit, and then what happens? You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm over that brand.
No, it makes sense though, because I think sometimes with brands in general, they focus so much on the sales and they
Yep.
forget that sales and branding are two separate things.
Branding's so fucking important.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
And it's so hard,
Yeah, it's hard as shit.
fucking hard.
Yeah.
Carving out a niche for yourself. But it sounds like your products are more, they can fit anywhere across the spectrum. So
Well,
you
I mean-
have like product lines that
Yeah.
fit different niches.
I mean, for me, I'm more or less like a back end guy. You know,
Okay.
I'm not the face guy. So for me, I always say this is like redundant. We're like a record label.
Mm.
So the artist is the designer,
Mm.
and you know he has a vision. He has the concept of the brand. So what we do is we make sure the distribution's right. We make sure his clothing has however many SKUs. It's like how many songs you need. Okay, this
Chris,
is your
get your
sound.
mic a little closer.
Yeah.
It's cutting out.
Yeah, how many songs you have, like how many SKUs you have, the look of your brand, the sound of your song, you know. So we always say the same thing. We take care of everything on the back end, making sure it's shipped, making sure the customer service right, making sure the product arrives, making sure margins are there. So like I said,
So you're logistics.
I'm logistics.
He's like, I'm
yeah,
everything.
you're like,
He's-
I have
I'm
the
logistics.
infrastructure.
Yeah, we have the infrastructure. We have
Right.
like the platform, so we do everything. So
So this is a selfish question.
yeah,
As an artist,
He's the artist.
yeah,
what would you recommend? Because I've been battling back and forth when it comes to like merchandise.
yeah.
Because I always hear it. Like
Mhm.
I always hear like, you know, people when they give advice to artists, like, yo, make sure you have your merchandise and da 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 da.
Mhm.
But for me, what I'm scared of doing is I see a lot of artists, they'll do like spring, like print on demand and shit like that.
Yeah,
But the quality is so low.
it's trash.
And I'm like, I don't want to tie my name
Mhm.
to trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless if I'm going to make a couple bucks. So what would you recommend for an artist when it comes to his
You should do a
merchandise?
collab with him.
No, I mean, I would say
He's like,
for
no.
honestly, it's tough because like you can't say that just because your product's trash, you're not gonna buy it. Kanye West,
No, for
Travis
sure.
Scott, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of their merch is print on demand. Literally, when you go to the checkout, it says this is gonna ship 4 to 6 months from now.
Mhm.
You know, so a majority of all the stuff that you're buying from all these artists are print on demand anyways. It just depends. It's like, you know, if you have a following, they don't care what the fuck it is, as long as it says so and so and so and so or whatever artist it is. You know, like I've seen some of the quality of the stuff that all the people make a merch. It's terrible. You know, I've seen brands that you don't know anything about make merch that's just amazing, but they're not going to buy it because, you know, there's no branding behind it. There's no value.
Yeah, that's always been a tough, because it's like you don't want to, you know.
You don't want to mix kind of both, but you want to give a good product. But do you want to hold on to the bag if you don't know that your product's going to sell, or do you want to go print on demand, and as you get orders, you just print, and it's pretty much your crowdfunding money.
Yeah,
yeah. That's what NFTs are to a certain degree, right? Like you have a vision, you have a roadmap, which is kind of like your business plan. I don't know how. Are you involved in the NFT space at all?
No. I like tangible goods. The stuff
They're
that's actually
tangible.
In my head. Yeah, I know, but
or they can be connected to tangible stuff,
right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Our
Like
project. That he'll tell
I'll
you
be
about
honest.
shoes.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not very versed in NFT. It's not something I've jumped into.
Yeah.
But it's the concept you understand, because it's almost the crowdfunding, right? So people come up with a concept, they say where they're going to take it, and they release this collection that people either see value in or not.
Yeah.
And then that's how they raise their capital. So let's say you have a vision, you want to execute on, I don't know, making better apples. So you want to buy an orchard, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to sell 10,000 of these different colored apples so I can raise the money I need to do this. And you make that known to your public. And that's how you do the crowdfunding. It's a different way of doing the same thing that's been around.
Even what you currently have right now, you know, with everything you have with your clothing, right? Like you're everything. So you could have an NFT that's connected to that, where it's like only these members have access to all these things that I provide. And the day that you don't want my services anymore, because the great thing about NFTs that I love is you're creating a service and product, but you're making that into an asset for your customers.
Yeah.
So it's a cool concept.
Dope.
So for you, when it comes to fashion, where do you see, you know, when I asked you that question, you were like, just don't do it. So where do you see because fashion is an industry that's never going to go away.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you see that's next for that? Like for people that want to get into fashion now?
I mean, fashion is always it's always evolving. That's one thing that I always say. It evolves, but it also recycles. You know what I'm saying? It recycles. Because like right now, if you look at the fashion, and now it's you blink an eye, I'm 40 years older now, right? But if I blink my eye, I went to the high schools. It looks like I'm back in high school. Yeah, all the kids are dressing exactly the same way that I did in the late 90s. Yep. And
baggy clothes.
Yeah, baggy clothes. And you've seen some of these brands that we were into trying to make a resurgence, a comeback, right?
Yeah.
So brands like FUBU, I've seen Avrix, I've seen South Pole. I've seen some of these other guys, just re-release and do a bunch of projects now.
Yeah.
And shit, dude, like literally recently, like I want to say a couple months ago, I was in San Diego, and it was like a Friday with my family. We had to swing by a supermarket. So I went by the supermarket at 2:00, a bunch of kids were running around, and it looked like an episode of Kids.
That's funny.
I was like, what the hell? Like every kid is wearing a crop top, baggy jeans, skateboards,
No, it's so true.
Yeah, the look is definitely back.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I remember in high school, snapbacks came back.
Yeah.
The old school snapbacks. Is it the brand Nifty? No. It's like a super popular snapback brand. Starter. So those came back, and I was like, it's funny because it was all about fitted.
Yep.
And then it went into snapbacks. And
then couldn't even sell fitted back then. By the way, fitted is back.
Fitted is back.
Yeah, fitted is back hard.
Dad hats are like kind of like now kind of done. You know, I'm over here doing it bad.
Yeah. You know what is actually back on the apparel side? It's like Von Dutch and the trucker hats. Yeah. Everyone's rocking a trucker hat now.
Yeah. We got those coming.
Yeah.
For us.
So doing all the different things that you do, like, what is it that you would say you're probably most passionate about? You're passionate about everything you do. Yeah. But if I were to ask, who are you? How would you describe yourself?
I mean, I'm at the age where I have 3 kids. My daughter's 9, my son's 7, my youngest is 4, and probably the most passionate thing I'm about right now is my basketball program.
Oh, I want to talk about that.
Yeah. So
I'm like, being your
no, obviously my kids, obviously my kids, but like for me, it was I grew up around basketball.
Okay.
So I would say, like, if there was one thing that kept me out of trouble, I mean, I grew up in the 90s in Santa Ana, in the Westminster area.
Yeah.
And I'm Asian. I'm Vietnamese. You know, I didn't get into gangbanging. I didn't get to any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Why? Because my parents said you can go to two places. You go to school or you can go to Salgado Gym and play basketball.
Oh.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't go to those two, you ain't doing shit. So
Yeah.
I spent a majority of my like youth playing basketball. And I could honestly say if it wasn't for basketball, I would have gotten into some dumbass shit. But I mean, anyways, fast forward a few years ago, my son, who had just turned 5, I just wanted him to go outside and do shit that wasn't on your fucking iPad.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, you want to join basketball? And he was like, I'm not sure if I want to do it. So I signed up for NJB. The first day of practice, he enjoyed it. He loved it. And so it was one of those things where NJB, by the way, NJB is a shitty ass program. It's one of the shittiest programs. They don't have real coaches and anything. It's purely parent volunteer. So on like the first day of practice, I realized, I was like, okay, there's a ton of these kids. They just break them up to little groups. And they're like, okay, now we need parents to help out. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just paid how much money? And now I'm going to have to help out? And so I'm out there. None of the other parents have any basketball knowledge at all. Obviously, me, I have a huge basketball background. And so I'm coaching these kids and helping out. And the thing is, the person that ran it was an old high school basketball coach that coached against me in high school. So he's like, hey, Chris, I remember you. He was like, hey, you're going to coach all these kids. So you get these group of kids, get the 10 best kids, and then the weekend they're going to have a tournament. You can be the head coach. I was just like, what the fuck did I sign myself up to? Right? I'm like, what the fuck was this?
I was dropping my kids off.
I was dropping my kids
They had the
off.
uniform.
You know what I'm saying? And so we played, and the kids win their first game. I'm like, I enjoy this.
Yeah.
But anyways, long story short, the season is over. My son's like, Dad, I want to keep on playing. What do I do next?
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, let me find you another program. So he's 5 at the time. And so I look for all these programs. I go to this program. I'm not going to say names of the program, but I go to the program, and they literally have girls wearing shorts, skirts, and Crocs. And they're on a 10-foot court, and the kids are 5. I was like, how the kids are going to play? Because you're supposed to be on an 8-foot court. And I'm like, this is a shitty-ass program. The kids it's like grab ass. I was like, this is bullshit. And so I take them to another program in Irvine, and it was the same shit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Ryder, it's either you play this or you don't. He was like, why don't you coach me? I was like,
nice.
I was like, ding. I was like, all right. So next thing you know, I'm like, all right, I can do this. I can run a summer program. I can get like 18 of his kids. And so, I pull out my Rolodex of friends, and I get like PSD. I get, who was it the first season? PSD, Bowden, Ties.com. And the crazy shit was Dior. Dior actually sponsored the program.
Wow.
So Dior actually sponsored the program.
How do they hear about it?
So I think
He's connected.
Yeah, I'm connected.
Yeah. Leveraging his connections, man. Leveraging.
Someone and say,
one of the store managers at South Coast Plaza was I was a big shopper there, and he saw what I was doing with my son. He was like, hey, we would love to help out if you're going to run a basketball program.
Sick.
We would love to sponsor it. I was like, oh shit. So if they're going to sponsor it, it could be free for the whole summer. So we made uniforms. I got a court, got insurance. I made a IG post, and next thing you know, I have 20 kids playing basketball with my son.
That's
so
great.
It was me, a couple of my high school basketball buddies, and a couple of my employees that help volunteer as coaches. And so this was 3 years ago. And so we run this program for the whole summer, and it was great. We were just teaching kids the normal dribbling, shooting, rebounding, all that other shit, right?
Yeah.
And so by the end of the whole summer, the kids loved it, enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, well, what's next? And then I was like, you know what? Shit, we can make this a nonprofit, and we could do this as an academy.
nice.
And so this was fast forward 3 years ago.
Wow.
We're still running the academy now, and this summer we have about 60 kids coming to the academy.
Wow.
Yeah, so we still run it, and we have a weekend. It's pretty much my AAU team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope. It's a concept like entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like literally finding a space that you need to fill and being like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fill this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
and the cool thing is I actually get to coach my kids, and I get to coach all these other kids. I enjoy it. I enjoy watching kids improve in basketball, play, and stuff like that
of course.
too. And it gets to the point where they'll see me randomly outside, and they're like, "What's up, Coach Chris?" I'm like, "What's up, bud?" So I'm cool with it. That's my passion right now.
That's super
That's
dope.
sick.
Imagine when one of your kids go to the NBA.
I mean, I fucking hope so.
Yeah, hell
I
yeah.
fucking hope so. But for me, I'm more realistic. I told every
Right.
single parent the same thing. I was like, listen, realistically, the chance of any of your kids making the NBA, not going to happen. Making a college D1, not going to happen. But if if you play in our program, I can guarantee you your son's going to make the varsity basketball team and be one of the best players in his high school.
Right.
I can guarantee you that.
And the structure you're giving them, the discipline.
And the structure. I mean, do you know how cool, I mean, most kids don't make D1, D2, or whatever, but the best basketball player in your high school, you're still the coolest dude in the school.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm going to be realistic to you. This is what you're going to get if your kid plays with me. I'm not going to try to fucking blow smoke up your ass. This is what it is.
And that's still good, though.
We just met. To me, everything that you say is so grounded in reality and just finding these niches. What's your mindset like going into these? Is it just you're looking for holes where you can fill in, or is it just it's obvious to you because you seem like you're very realistic about things? Like you said, you like things that you can touch and see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything or jump into any situation where I'm gonna lose.
Right.
Like I've always learned that I'm not the type of person that likes to be involved in a lot of things. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that want to do fashion, I want to do food, I want to do this, I want to do that, and go learn something. Basketball, I don't need to go learn basketball. I fucking grew up around basketball. Cars, I don't need to learn about cars. I grew up around cars.
Yeah.
Fashion, this is my career.
Yeah.
So if you ever ask me, hey, do you want to get into food? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into, do you want to open up a fucking bar? Fuck no. Like I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
It's a headache. Let me tell you.
I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
So for the easiest thing is I'm OCD and I'm always a thinker, so every single time something comes on, I always calculate, margins, how much it's going to cost, time, effort, and everything too. I'm not going to put my time and effort in anything that's going to take an L. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
Your whole family is that way, or is it just
no?
you?
I mean, I got a couple family members that are kind of weird.
I think we all do. Yeah,
we all do. We all do.
Well, yeah. To me, it's always very interesting to see how other people work because we all have our strong suits. You're building on things that you grew up with. Like you said, basketball. I don't know how you got into fashion. Maybe it was just a love of clothes when you were younger.
My story of fashion is pretty funny. Yeah, this one's funny. I was actually in real estate.
Oh.
So I was actually in real estate. So my first job after I graduated out of college was a loan officer. And then, it was 2004 or whatever. I mean, the company went under. I was on unemployment. And then one of my buddies, I lived in a house, and my roommate's boyfriend, who's actually a buddy of mine, his name is Joe, owns this brand called Franco Shade. And he actually asked me, hey, man, I'm going to go to the trade show. I need some help working the booth. I'll pay for your hotel, pay for some of your food. Just help me out. I was like, all right, cool. 4 days in Vegas at the party. You're going to cover it? I'm there.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm 22 years old, unemployed. And I, pretty much, long story short, like I always say, I went there, helped out the booth. He had my first sale and the rest was history.
Nice.
That's crazy. Now, in this journey of you, in fashion, have you ever hit a area where you were just like, fuck, like, I don't know if this is going to work out? Maybe you hit an L on the way. Like, was there ever a time or?
It wasn't always smooth selling.
No, I mean, it's never smooth selling. Like in fashion, I always hit L's. The thing is, it's like Instagram. Like I always talk about it in life. Instagram's like a highlight reel. Right. People never talk about like any of your L's. You always post the highlights.
It's always the good things.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this. I mean, like everybody, when COVID hit and my company shut down, that was the first time in my life where I ever felt I was like, dude, what the fuck's gonna happen? What's next?
Right.
Literally,
that was everybody.
Dude, literally, I remember like it was yesterday. I think it was like March 20th. I think that was the date.
Literally a month before that is right when I left the club too, and I'm thankful I left before that shit hit.
Yeah, and so March 20th, it was pretty much they said that okay, you can't go back into the office. You can't. You have to shut down. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? And for us, we have a big staff. We have about 50 plus employees, warehouse, sales, logistics. Marketing, CFO, everything. So it just shut down. And so I remembered shutting down and then talking to my controller, my CFO, my business partner, and we're like, yo, man, we have to furlough everybody because if we can't and we stay open, we're going to bleed out. We can't afford this payroll with no money coming in and no stores opening.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, fuck. I still remember coming in the next day, turning on the light. I would go to work every single day still during COVID, just so I would be there so FedEx could return all the bounce backs orders that we were sending out that came back. But like, I mean, I hate this word, but we pivoted, we pivoted.
Everybody had to
Everyone
pivot.
pivoted.
Everyone
You know,
pivots, bro.
everyone
I
pivoted.
I
have a
pivot
pet
all the
peeve
time.
with
Yeah.
pivot.
I hate that word, but we focused on our
That's
online store.
necessary.
We ran Facebook ads, which we normally didn't do at the time. And we made enough just to keep afloat. But we were closed for like 2-3 months, and thank God that the minute we opened, it was like a shit show because everybody got all this money.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
that's true.
I'm in the urban industry, okay? Streetwear, urban.
Yeah.
A lot of my stores, shit, they couldn't keep the shit in stores.
Yeah.
Like, I was selling out of shit so fast, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like how is this even possible? Like, it was bad and it was good at the same exact time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it shows you just got to keep.
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
That's,
going.
that's probably why we did so good during COVID, because kind of same kind of customer base.
Yeah.
And we had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it, and everything's closed. So they're like, fuck, let me rent a car for, 10 days and shit. I was getting, like, money was stacking. I was like, shit, this is great.
Yeah.
We had to, at the gym, like, figure out, because we're,
They had to pivot.
we had to pivot. we would have somebody to sit. I remember me and my uncle would sit on the front door to wait for, like, the cops to come to try to check up on us. And I'm over here, like, saying this, and it's illegal, whatever. So I'm over here just looking at the front door, and people are working out. And right when we see a cop, like, come in to check, we would tell everybody, like, yo, emergency. And everybody would run to the back and pretend they're doing, like, outside workouts. And our back is like a strip of just concrete.
Oh, man.
So it was like we would have to, just because
you had
the
to.
overhead
Yeah,
in
you
Costa
had to.
Mesa is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
So it's
you
like,
had to.
and we don't have employees
Yeah.
because they're all independent
Independent.
contractors. So we couldn't get any government help. It was
It's as wild as it is. That shit happened. It was 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy because when you were talking about because you mentioned like 2004, right, when you started, I'm like, that's only what, like
Doesn't seem like
that's not
that
even 10
far.
years ago.
2004,
2000
18 years ago.
18 years ago.
18
I
years
like,
ago.
wait,
I know, I'm
Wait,
like-
2004,
I'm down with that,
like,
yeah.
we're in 20.
No, 20 years, almost 20 years. But even the concept of like how much you've done,
Yeah.
right? Like if you look
A
at
lot.
how much you've done in those not even 20 years, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it just proves like, dude, you're talking about having a basketball academy. You have one of the biggest fashion businesses ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All these cars you've collected. So from where you started at 2004 to where you're at right now, and you look back and you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like me into high school.
Yeah.
You
Did
know
you-
what I mean?
So did you start this with a goal in mind, or did you just it developed as it went? It sounds like,
I mean,
or did you start saying this is what I want? Or
no.
Yeah, I don't
No,
get
for
that.
for me, it was just everything at once. Everything just happened organically. Obviously, for me, fashion happened. Fashion was first. That's where I earned all my money that I was able to do other projects with. And so from fashion, that's when the cars came. And obviously the situation with the basketball thing is my kids got older.
Yeah.
Like, for me, being so enthusiastic about basketball, all I wanted to do was, hey, hopefully when my kids are older, I could watch them play basketball or teach them basketball. Now I literally sit at home. We watch games. I'll break down a game with my son.
That's dope.
And I'm like, yo, you see what homie's doing right there. This is the reason why. This is the reason why you have to dribble here. This is the reason why it's so important to jump stop. This is the reason why it's so important to get back on defense. If you don't play defense, you don't get on the court. I'll take him to basketball, pick up games with me, and before games, I'll show him other players playing, and my daughter as well,
Yeah.
both of them, and then they understand the concept.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Who's your team?
Oh, my team? I mean, I used to be this big Clippers fan until they blew the fucking that last league 3-1. So I don't have a team. I just follow Luka. So I'm like, if everybody can dick ride LeBron, I'm gonna just follow.
I went with the
Luka.
LeBron jersey.
Because the thing is, it's like how many people LeBron has created guys that just followed him around. Like, yo, I'm a
LeBron
Cavs fan. I'm a Miami Heat fan. I'm a Laker fan. So I could say I'm gonna be a Luka fan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So wherever Luka plays, that's my squad.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like that's what's the world's transitioning to. Like
Yeah.
people are getting connected to like individuals.
Individuals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, talking about transitioning, are you looking ahead as to where sports are gonna go, where fashion's gonna go, or are you just so in the moment that you're just letting it?
I'm always looking ahead. Me
You
and my business partner Lee. Shout out to Lee. We literally all of our conversations is always conversations about how we could improve ourselves, how we can go on to next, and the biggest thing is how to make more money.
Right.
if you don't have a business partner that if you don't have a business partner that all you guys talk about is, how to get to the next level, how to, how to get to the next level, how to grow the business, then you have the wrong business partner.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all we ever talk about is literally like, okay, well, what should we do with this brand? Where's our holes? Like, what can we improve on? What do we need to do?
It's very important.
Yeah, very, very
For
important.
sure.
Yeah.
That's why I choose to not have any partners now.
Yeah, smart.
Well, you do have some partners, right?
I mean,
hello.
We're all partners.
Yeah.
For this, not for that.
Yeah.
But I keep bringing up NFTs not just because it's what TCC is at the core of TCC, but it's where the future is headed, and I think it's worth educating yourself about it because the whole idea of how the product is produced. People have these labels that say it's all organic or fair trade or whatever it is, right? So with NFTs and the blockchain, what you can do is let's say this T-shirt, you have a little tag. That tag is an NFT that resides on the blockchain. And when I look at that NFT, I know where that plant was. I know where that fabric was put together. I knew where it was sewn. It's like that whole history, but it also has value because it's forever associated with that. And if you make it into a unique piece of art, then the value goes up. So for me, when I think about NFTs, it isn't just like, oh yeah, it's a JPEG. A lot of people say that, and I think that's a very superficial way of looking at it. But in the apparel industry, in real estate, in digital art, in what we're doing here, and my brother's going to expand a little bit on how we're trying to marry that idea of something that's very abstract
into the real
world. So like, I think if he tells you what TCC is all about and how we're trying to do that, you can probably pick up on how you can implement that with your brands and your clothing and your ideas as well. So do you want to tell him a little bit?
I mean, there's a lot of projects. I mean, in everything.
Yeah,
there's always people that jump in to make quick money,
right,
and leave it, and it leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of rug pull.
Yeah.
That's a very, very, very popular word.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, and we just kind of separate ourselves because we're already doing what we're talking about. Like I've been doing the rentals for almost close to 10 years now.
Right.
As you've probably seen now, from when I started to now, literally everywhere you look, everyone's trying to rent cars now.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a talk with, actually, before I talked to Jay about it, I had a talk with another guy that was in the NFT space. And when I started hearing about it, I was like, shit, maybe that's something I need to do to go to the next level.
Right.
Yep.
Because I was like tired of like trying to compete with everybody else on the street.
You have to distinguish. You have to make your own brand. You have to make yourself unique.
Yeah, and my first partnership didn't work out. I was like, fuck, who am I gonna get? I know my brother's hella smart. I was like, well, I can always use him on the tech side. But and then Jay approached me and was like, hey, I was thinking about this NFT stuff, and I thought you were already doing exotics. Let's do something with exotics. And I mean, from where we started back in February till where we're at now, it was, I mean, shit has changed so much, and we just had to kind of...
We pivoted.
we pivot daily.
We've literally had to pivot like every week.
Because the market's so
else.
fucking... The market with the NFT market is just so fast, right? Like fashion, you'll get trends every like couple of years. In NFT world, you get a trend like every fucking month.
Right.
You know?
But it seems like every other week.
Yeah, for real. But what's great about what NFTs, what they do, going like, looking at it like from a marketing perspective.
Yep.
When you market, you go to market. Right?
Yep.
In NFTs, what's cool about it is you go to community. So like an example with brands, right? So like let's say I have a brand and I call it, Shuka, right? And the purpose for me with Shuka is to make sure that my consumers, my clients, buy and continue buying my clothing. So what's dope now is that I could release an NFT. I could say it's free. If you buy a shirt of mine or a whatever, you get an NFT. Then you become part of my community where now I own the data. Facebook don't own it. Instagram don't own it. I own the data, right? I know every single person who has an NFT. I could track them. Now I could go, hey guys, we're coming into our summer collection. What do you think we should release? Should we release, these colors, or should we release this? And now we're getting actual consumer data to be like, I want oversized. I want oversized this, oversized that. So now you get to put a vote, and you go, all right, guys, one NFT equals one vote. So if we get the majority of votes, then we're gonna do oversized. If we get the majority of vote, we're gonna do fitted, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So that's how brands can
Right.
leverage NFTs
Oh, for
to
sure.
really get the data, because data is everything.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And
True.
I think that
You
that
already
is
have
so
a community.
important. Yeah, the community. So a lot of, I don't know if this is what you do, but they try and predict where things are going, how people are going to react to something like focus groups for movies or
Yeah.
something, right? This is the main difference, is that it's community driven and it's these little niche markets. So instead of him trying to say, oh, well, I think there's going to be a great idea, he'll just ask the people that are already involved with the project
Before I
and say,
fucking print it.
what
you know?
makes sense to you, because
Yeah.
it's all about the community. It's taking the power away from people like Facebook.
Yeah.
And
I get it. I mean,
like-
it's essentially like a forum.
Dude,
A
it's
what?
Yeah.
A
it's like-
forum.
it's a forum.
Yeah.
oh,
It's-
forum,
For
yeah.
sure.
It's like
I
it's
thought
pretty
you
much.
said forum. I'm
no,
like,
it's-
back in real estate.
I mean, I know enough about it, and
Yeah.
it's essentially your Discord group, and it's
Exactly.
It's essentially like Nike Talk back in the day. Nike Talk, your ISS forums banned and everything too. It's just like a group of dudes that's just talking to each other all day.
all day.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
these guys literally are like,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, how do you guys
Yeah.
have time to do nothing but sit on
Yeah.
Discord? I'm like,
Right.
Well, it's the nature of humans, right? They all want to
Right.
be a part of a tribe, of
I mean,
a community.
the thing
Sure.
about it, it's just, I would say it's just like the transition of everything.
Mhm.
Earlier on on the internet, we had this thing called chat rooms.
yeah.
Right.
Same exact shit.
I remember.
AOL, there's chat rooms. You'd go on to an Asian chat room. You'd go on to a black chat room. You'd go
Right.
on to a sports chat room. And
Mhm.
all it is you're talking sports, you know?
Mhm.
And it's just like, it's pretty much the next thing.
Yeah.
It is the next thing, and it's
Yeah.
happening so fast. And also, but the audience has developed, right?
Mm.
So when you were growing up, AOL is a brand new concept.
Yeah.
Now the people that are buying and selling NFTs, they're like 18, 19, behind their computer.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach them how to use a computer.
Mhm.
People
They know
have
it.
grown up with it.
Yep.
And I feel
You
like
know?
kids are already getting groomed, right? It's
yeah.
like
Oh, for sure.
Fortnite.
Oh,
People,
for
my,
sure.
my nephew be buying some like crazy ass suits, and I'm like, Mijo, how much did you spend on this? He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know, my Christmas money. I'm like, it's a digital.
Right.
It's just to floss on a
Yeah.
fucking game. So it's like
That's
they're
just the beginning.
they're
already
already
starting
It is
out.
the big-
yeah,
beginning.
they're already
Oh, yeah,
starting to
yeah.
get this concept of like, you know,
They're
we're
being
so
trained.
far.
Chris is like,
Yeah.
y'all need to stop selling me on NFTs.
No, I'm not trying to
Nah.
sell them. I'm excited
No,
about
yeah.
it. Like,
no,
and
this is
where,
something
where
that,
things are going.
yeah,
No, for
it-
sure.
it's gonna be crazy, and our project alone, we're not even worried about like
Mhm.
with the art alone. We went back and forth. We've gone through so
Yeah.
many artists, and we're like, you know what? Fuck the art. We're over the art.
Yeah.
We'll just make a card, make a membership card, and do that.
All day.
Then we're like, okay, let's make some art.
You were like,
It's like
let's
we
not
just
fuck
did
the
it.
art. Let's bring in the art.
it's just like
You know.
going
It was
back
just
and forth.
frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, for us, it's all utility in the real world.
Right.
So once it's up and running, I mean, it's already up and running.
Mhm.
It's just gonna get bigger.
Yep.
It's just
Right.
gonna grow and grow and grow, and we're trying to go, you know, OC, LA, you
Got it.
know, Miami, all over, and then hopefully worldwide. But I mean, it's gonna happen.
Do you know
Yeah.
the basic idea of what TCC is, or
No.
what the utility is?
I haven't really told
No,
you.
he
No.
hasn't really talked about it.
Well, think about it like this is basically like the prototype, what you're
Right.
seeing right now, right?
Very, very small.
Yeah, very small. So you'll get access to, like private lounges. So let's say you go to New
Wait,
York.
he has it. He has the concept.
He
Oh,
has
has
his
a
that's
little-
garage.
right.
I'm like, he
You have a
has
man
a little.
cave.
He has his man cave where he keeps his car and hangs
That's
out. and
exactly what
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
the same
Exactly
thing,
that.
except whoever has the NFT
Gets access to
gets
that.
access
access,
to
and
it.
they get access to the cars.
Yeah.
And when it evolves, they'll have fractional ownership in the cars too.
It's cool.
So
Yeah.
it's just making it bigger and more available to more people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just using the technology to make it less friction.
Yeah.
Make
Not
it
everybody
easier.
has $1 billion company like
Yeah.
you. You
I
know,
wish
that,
it was $1 billion.
Yeah, boy.
that can
Yeah.
go out and say, "Oh, I want that car."
I'll get to, he's like, I'll
take
get to
it."
the B. I'll get to the B.
You'll get to that beat, bro.
I'll get to the B. So let's go just real quick. Let's go just so we can give more value to our community. So if people are trying to get into business,
Yeah.
right, entrepreneurship in general,
Mhm.
what would be some things that you would say, you know, to focus on?
I think the thing to focus on is just like sitting behind somebody and learning. 'Cause
Mm.
a lot of these kids that have this overnight success like fast. I want to make money fast, but they don't want to
Dude,
learn.
that is
They
so
don't want to
true.
learn. They don't want to learn.
Like
So,
literally, we talk about this every.
yeah, we talk about
podcast.
this every day. This generation right now is
They
so
just want it now, right
so
now.
infatuated to looking successful instead of being
Yeah.
successful.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like a lot. I'm just gonna say this, like, you know,
Please.
I was in the industry for over 8 years before I started my company. I was 22. I started my first company at 30. So I worked behind somebody. I worked behind a bunch of people. I was smarter than every single fucking person I worked with. You know, no pun intended. You know, I literally watched guys just do some of the dumbest shit running a clothing brand and running any of their brands. But why did I do this? Because I was learning on their dime, not mine.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't ready yet. I didn't have the funds, and I wasn't gonna go out there and just like borrow some money and just run a brand and just run it to the ground. I watched what they did wrong. I watched what they did right, and I watched, you know, the parts of them that were good, I took it, and the parts of them that were bad, and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's the thing about this generation and being an entrepreneur that you need to learn is, you know, learn on somebody else's dime. It's easy to be somebody's apprentice or work for somebody, whether you're starting from the warehouse, you're a marketing guy, a sales guy. You know, I have no issues. I've had so many different people work for me, go on and start successful companies, and I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
You know, I have no issues with guys coming in, because I know what it is. It's like, if you're going to be a good employee, you're going to go on and start your own company.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's just normal. You know, I've had guys that work with me before, and I looked at him, I'm like, dude, he's going to start up. He's too good to be working. You can see it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's like the one thing about entrepreneurship that people don't talk about is, hey, you just take your time.
Yeah.
Just take your time. You know, you don't have to go out there and say, I'm a CEO. People just love the titles.
Yeah.
It's the fucking funniest thing. It's like, if you're the only person in your company, you're not a fucking CEO. You're self-employed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I was, because we had an event on Sunday.
Yeah.
And a Charger player came.
Yep.
His name is Gabe. He's going to be on the podcast as well.
Guy.
Yeah.
And we were talking
I didn't even
sports.
know. I didn't even know he was. I was just.
Oh, I was like, "Where's the?" And I was like, "That's you." No, but
big ass dude.
I was talking to him. I was like, "It's crazy how, you know, in sports, it takes 10+ years more to be the rookie of the year."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in entrepreneur and different things, right? Being a doctor, being a lawyer, being all these successful things. It's like, you got to go through school. You got to go through so much to even get to start playing.
Takes a lot of work.
You know, entrepreneurship is the exact same thing. You can't just.
You got to put in that work.
You got to put in the work. And I think a lot of people have the entitlement of being like, if I'm going to give you my time, I have to get paid for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what do you know? I'm going to spend more time teaching you than you actually doing something, you know? So
people don't understand this, because like, you could work for somebody, and let's just say you work for somebody for free, but the knowledge that you get working for them for 40 hours is you're going to take away so much more from that 40 hours of working with them than working at a fucking McDonald's or a Best Buy, getting paid hourly. You know, it's like cool, for 1 year you work for free, but now you worked underneath somebody as a real estate agent. Let's just say a real estate agent, all right? If you work for somebody for free for a whole year, and you were his assistant as a real estate agent, you'd learn the ins and outs. You'd learn loan docs. You'd learn how to cold call. You'd learn how to sell. You'd learn pretty much every trait you would need, right? And then after that year, even though you didn't work for free, shit, you can go off, take your test, and then now what is it? That's a whole year of schooling.
For sure.
You know? So, you know, you working at a McDonald's or a fucking Best Buy's, you made, what, $24,000-$30,000 a year? How much money is it to go to school?
Yeah.
You know? But you can cut all that bullshit, work for somebody for free, and you're going to have a side hustle. You work on the weekends or whatever just to get by, but the knowledge is endless.
For sure. For sure. And they're going to remember you too, right?
Oh, yeah,
like,
for sure.
They want to make sure you win as well, because you're like, yo, if you grind for someone every single day and you show up and you're like, all right, now it's time for me to fly. That person's going to be like, I'm going to make sure you fly because you worked under me.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to make sure you're good. It's like, I tell people that whenever you want to get into something, start studying people that are where you are at and look at their blueprint.
I think my biggest thing is when the first day of work, I had my job as a loan officer, and I remember the same thing. One of my buddies was like, "Hey, you know, in order for you to be successful, look at the highest producing person and emulate them.
Right.
Yeah.
Copy the things they say, copy the things they do, and copy the things." How they just
tried
interact.
and true.
It's tried and true. It's like that. It's like, okay, why would you go into a company and emulate the worst sales rep?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Sure.
saying? He's fucking sleeping there, or not doing shit, coming in late.
And he's the one posting on Instagram with the
Right.
bottles and the cars and the
And
Very true.
That's so true.
and me as a business owner, I've had that, dude. I've had shitty ass sales reps that just sit going to work late, sleeping.
But that's the difference is
Normal.
that you had your eye on learning and doing and becoming the real thing. A lot of people are there to earn, whatever they earn so they can put these great photos on Instagram, and it's that instant gratification. A lot of people don't want to put in the work that it actually takes to get shit done.
Oh my God, a majority of the people these days, they would rather look, like I said, they would rather look successful than be successful. It's like, okay,
but it's bullshit.
It's like, okay, well, I have $6,000. Let me get whatever fucking Rolex I can, and I'm just gonna fucking wear it and post it. And now it looks like I'm successful. Motherfucker, you just spent all the money you had in your bank account on a fucking Rolex.
Yeah.
How are you gonna fucking feed yourself?
Yeah.
How are you gonna pay rent? It's just dumb.
Yeah. No, and it's unfortunate, and it comes from just insecurity.
Wait, speaking of insecurity, can I get one of those Dior jerseys that Christian Dior is giving to your basketball academy? Can I just have one of those so I can take some cool Instagram photos?
It was a T-shirt, but
I'll take that.
That was 2 years ago. You don't have to wear those.
That's gonna cost a lot of money. That's vintage right there. Vintage Dior. That sounds nice. Vintage Dior.
Sick, yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. That's facts. I actually got some questions. If you guys want to ask him, I got some quick.
What did you get?
I got some quick. Before we end the podcast, I got some quick little questions for Mr. Chris Leverage. All right, you ready?
Yep, sure. Hit me.
All right, these are quick.
No, you're good. You're good.
Ferrari or Lambo?
Oh, Lambo.
Lambo.
Ooh,
We ride
Ferrari.
together all day.
which one?
Countach.
Ooh, I don't even know which one that is.
That's the one I used to have on my wall as a kid.
Oh,
I had
nice.
a Countach.
Yeah.
That's nice. In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A.
In-N-Out.
Oh, my heart.
Fuck In-N-Out. In-N-Out's so overrated.
What? That's
I
the
know,
bro.
I
Even their
love
ketchup,
In-N-Out.
even their
No, man.
ketchup
Oh,
is
that
fire.
sauce.
They got
What?
cardboard French fries.
Yeah,
What?
they do.
I think
Alright.
In-N-Out.
What are you talking? The French fries are the best.
I honestly, you might hate me, but I think
We didn't know this was going to be
French
controversial.
French fries. The
No,
French fries. I get like
In-N-Out
5 French
fries are
fries.
No, I love
horrible.
In-N-Out.
I would rather have McDonald's French fries.
all
But
day.
McDonald's,
McDonald's
French
is
fries
shit.
is that.
Okay,
But you
that's
can't let it go
I'm
cold.
by myself on this one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I don't do either. I don't eat meat, so I don't care what you guys eat.
I get.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
We'll eat meat for you. We'll
Eat
more
all
for
the
you.
meat you want.
Favorite basketball team? I asked you that, but if you were to pick one, which one would it be? You can't associate players.
Dallas Mavericks.
Bam.
Yeah.
Favorite basketball player?
Luka.
Favorite basketball players in the 90s?
Jordan.
Woo! I was going to ask, Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
Jordan.
Kobe Bryant or LeBron?
Kobe.
Hey.
Hey.
All right. If you were able to get away for one weekend anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh shit. Thailand.
Are you a watch guy?
Thailand's
Yes.
sick.
Favorite watch?
AP.
No, my Patek 5980 rose gold.
Man, that sounds really, really nice. So we get a photo of that on the
Can we
on
get
the
it?
thing.
We're gonna have him send a picture to us.
If we, okay. Now, if you were to give yourself right out of high school, if you were to give that young man some advice, what would that advice be?
Keep on taking L's and just learning.
Love
It's
it.
like, don't rush yourself. Don't worry
There's
about.
no rush.
There's no rush. Don't worry about the shitty jobs. Don't worry about living in that fucking garage. Don't worry about living in that mobile home. Don't worry about eating that shitty ass food. Don't worry about fucking pre-gaming in the parking lot at V2O and drinking with you and your homies. You and your homie Tui and Yuki with a bottle of Bacardi 151. It's all right. Life gets better. You're not gonna be this broke forever.
Yeah, it's
Love that.
almost like the more you struggle, the more
I love
successful
it.
you will
I-
become,
I
bro.
love it. The
I
struggle
mean, we
is so
struggled.
beautiful.
Dude,
The struggle is so beautiful.
I
It makes
saw-
everything else taste so much
Oh,
better.
100%.
It's so much better.
So much better.
If you never struggle or you
much
never
better.
fail, you'll never know that
Right.
that feeling you
Oh,
get
for
when
sure.
you do.
Have you ever ate
succeed.
rice with tuna because you had 7 cents in your bank account?
Oh,
I
bro.
have.
Fuck
Okay,
yeah.
I have.
Bro,
Hell yeah.
I still eat that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Except no tuna.
I've heard this thing from somewhere on TikTok, but he was like, the best part about being rich is reminiscing about when you were broke.
Oh,
Yeah.
all day.
Oh, yeah.
All
Dude,
day.
that is like, sometimes when I be eating like bruschetto and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like,
So good.
it's like back in the day, those tostadas con chile limon, you know, frijoles and rice. Like,
There's nothing wrong with that shit.
there's
Yeah,
nothing
there's
wrong with
nothing
it.
wrong
There's
with
nothing
it.
wrong with it. But it's just like you just when you know
Yeah.
when you grow up in that shit, you don't think
No.
about stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Like for me, I'll still drive down the street where I grew up on, down Harbor and Hazard, and just reminisce. Like, yo, walking 3 miles to school. You know, literally, huh?
Love
yeah,
that.
I loved it. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, rolling down Harbor and Hazard in a Lambo when you were like in an '88 CRX, it's just different.
Yeah.
It hits different.
What was your first
Yeah.
car?
'88 CRX.
That's CRX.
Yeah.
Wait, are
already
you
said
out of
that.
your questions?
I'm out of my questions. Go ahead.
Okay,
yeah.
go for it.
So you're a collector of many things that are very valuable.
Yep.
Out of everything in your life, what's the most valuable thing for you?
Oh man, the generic answer is my family, right?
No, but the real.
No,
But it has to be.
no.
It could
The
be.
real
It could be.
And this,
object.
I didn't
Just-
mean that like as a generic question. You
one
know?
Material thing.
Material,
one
material.
material.
Stick to material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one material thing. Okay, I would say it's like I had this 1978 Honda CVCC, and it just sits there in my car garage, and I don't drive it at all. The reason why I have it is it's my dad's car. It's the same car my dad had when we were growing up. And the thing was, it was a fucking beater. So when I was in junior high and he would pick me up, kids would always make fun of me because like, yo, that car's a piece of shit, you know. So I'd be like, yo, dad, pick me up down the street so kids can't see me.
Yeah.
And so as I started collecting cars later on, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get the same exact car that he had just so I could go into the man cave, look it up, and be like, shit, we were there. This is where we started.
Yep.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That is
beautiful.
awesome.
That really
man.
We
is.
just will wrap it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
beautiful.
lovely.
Well, thank you so much for being
I
here,
got
man. Thank you.
goosebumps.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was-
I literally got goosebumps.
Yeah,
If we
that
get a
was
clap
really
before we
nice.
go, get a
Yeah.
clap,
Oh,
get a
my
clap,
bad.
please,
Let me-
please.
I
Can we get
want
a?
more
we got a
sound
digital
effects
clap.
on that.
You can't hear it. You can't hear it. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Nah,
There
we
go.
appreciate you
Nah,
coming, man, for
Chris,
real.
we
Thank
do
you.
appreciate
That
you,
was
man.
that was excellent.
Thank you.
That
And
was
we
good.
have to give him the
Oh.
special announcement,
Well,
even though he's not super into
into it.
NFTs
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead, Ali. Go ahead and let him
you
know.
He's gonna be part of the family for life.
For life.
So we do have an honorary
There we go.
NFT for you.
Oh, nice.
that
Yes.
we will.
This
give
is
you.
actually going to be my first NFT.
There we go.
Yes, yes.
That's
so-
a pretty big deal.
Well, honestly, I think if you do kind of get into the space and
Yeah.
learn about
There's
it,
a
I
lot
think
of
you're gonna
opportunity.
find a lot of things that you probably want to get
Right.
into.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you'll kill it in that space
You will.
with your knowledge,
Just
and your
knowledge.
clothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro. Like,
But
and we're obviously all here. And I think on our back end side, there's one of our other founders. He can definitely help you with anything
Oh,
on
yeah.
that end.
Appreciate you guys.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we appreciate
mean,
you, man.
yeah.
Thank you for coming, bro. Like, for
That
real.
was great. We appreciate you making time to come out. I know you're
sure.
hella busy, man.
For
But
sure, for sure.
thank
no,
you.
but that was inspirational
Yeah.
for me. There
Thank
was
you.
a lot of it was
Good gems.
I felt it in my heart. So thank you.
I
for
did.
your
There was a
time.
couple of parts I literally got goosebumps. But I feel it.
So I'm here all week.
He's going to stay right
Come
here.
through anytime.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
This is
Thank
the
you, thank you.
Exotics Podcast brought to you by TECC.
Thank you.
Nos
Thank
vemos
you.
pronto. Dale,
Sign
dale,
out.
dale.
Sign out.